I was going to go to college today. Now, you may be like, Yellow is nice. My streamer didn't go to college. I mean, that's some bad stuff. That man might as well have a criminal record, right? But do not worry, because I had permission not to go. But it wasn't because, like, you know, I was ill or I was doing something else, or I was occupied. I don't know. Basically, I was all set. I woke up this morning. My alarm went off at just before 8 o'clock. And I switched off and put it on snooze. And then it went off again. And I got out of bed like a spring chicken in early spring. And henceforth, walked down to the kitchen and devoured a bowl of Shreddies. And I must say, had it with raisins. I love raisins. Devoured a bowl of Shreddies. Got myself ready to go to college. And then went to college. And I walked down to the bus stop. So I go, it's like 9:30, something like that. Pull up at the bus stop. And I pull up, there's an old lady there. And I go, hello. She goes, hello, morning. And I look around. I go, she goes, what time does the bus come? And I go, oh, I need to remember not to dox myself here. Because I need to remember not to say the name of my bus. I say, normally, the bus comes at about 5:02-ish. But normally it's here like on the hour. And she goes, okay, cool. Meanwhile, I'm listening to the Waitress soundtrack. Another bang. Hey, guys, shall I get the Waitress soundtrack up for you? I want to immerse you in the experience, right? Yeah, now we're talking. For thinking things like that. We got too much to do. All these same things. We're always opening up, letting the day in. Over a cup, we'll say hello. How you been? So if you got any of that, right? I'm at the bus stop. And I'm talking to the old lady, but I can't tell what she's saying because I'm blasting the Waitress soundtrack. That was just a little simulation of what it was like. I don't know if you got that, if that came across on the stream. I tried my best, right? So that's what I'm going through. Anyway, I then take one out. So it's now like... Okay, so this is now what it's like now. And she's talking to you in your other ear. I want to build a soundscape. Can we make my mic only go to one ear? Okay. So she's talking to me. She's like, oh, anyway, by this point, I've taken my headphones out because I'm committed to the conversation now. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to speak to her, aren't I? She did ask me a few questions, and I probably should have enacted stranger danger, but she seemed lovely, so hopefully she won't break into my house. She goes, yeah, I'm off to town as well. And I'm like, oh, cool. Isn't that wonderful? And she's like, yeah, I wouldn't normally do this. Like I'm from... I don't normally spend much time in a nice town like this. Normally I'm in London. And I'm like, oh yeah, really? And by this point I'm thinking this woman's in for a shock of her life because this transport is shocking. And I go, yeah, big difference to being in a place like London, isn't it? And she goes, yeah, it is. And she's like, yeah, what's it called? I spend a lot of time in London, and I mean, wow, the transport there, you know, I used to live in the centre. I'd pop down, you could get a bus, you could get a tube, and you'd be in the centre in no time. And I was like, yeah, it's not like living around here, is it? Not like living around here. And she goes, no, not like living around here. And she's like, oh, I wonder where the bus is. So I have a little app on my phone, right? It can be sometimes useful for my bus. It has my bus pass on, so I can actually get on the bus without having to pay every time. And it also has a little app where you can see where the buses are, right? So I pull the app up and I have a look and I go, oh yeah, the bus should be along it's delayed by 33 minutes. And she looks at me and goes, Oh, goodness gracious me. 33 minutes. Well, aren't you going to be late for college? And I said, yeah. Yeah, it's quite standard practice really to be late for college. She goes, oh, goodness gracious me, what a disaster. And now I'd like to, there's two, actually I wasn't, at that point, 33 minutes, I was like, I'll be late, but I might like only be 5-10 minutes late. So I was like, it's not that big of a deal. And here's another piece of information for you. There's actually 2 buses that run the service, but they're done by 2 opposing companies. One bus company is a bitch, which is the one I go on. The other one's also a bitch, but I don't go on it. That's basically the difference. But you can only use one bus, because when you buy a bus pass, I pay a stupid amount a year. It's so dumb how much I have to pay. It's like 500, 600 quid, something like that. But it means I can only use one bus, because I get that bus, then I've got the pass for, but the other one I can't go on, right? You got bitches. I have got bitches. So, she obviously hasn't got a bus pass, so she'll go on either. And the other point of information is we're kind of at the end of the line. So, before the bus comes and picks us up, it has to, I know, it is ridiculous. I agree. The bus has to go past us and then turn around and come pick us up again, right? And we haven't seen any go by. We've been there like 10, 15 minutes now, right? I'm having a lovely conversation with this woman. She's like, oh, what do you do at college? And I'm like, please. Of course, I did not act any child safety things. I went, oh, yeah, I do TV and film. Yeah, I'm in my first year. I'm really enjoying it. I used to go to the school down the road, but then I left because I hated it. And she was like, oh, wow, good for you. I'm really, really proud of you. That's like, you're doing a great job. And she's like, yeah, I had a son. And she's like, what are you going to do after college? And I was like, oh, I think I'm going to take a gap year. And then I think I'm going to then maybe go to like uni or look at like a apprenticeship or something like that. By the way, this is what I always say to people. I have a little bit of a thing that people always ask me, like, what are you going to... when you get to, like, your age, I'm sure everybody in chat is probably a similar age to me, including you, Love Cats. Or Love Cats, you probably would have been through this, where everybody asks you, like, what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do? And I have my answer because I get asked it so much, particularly because I do, like, a college course, you know. I don't do the sort of standard... like most people just stay on, do A-levels and go to uni. As I kind of want to do my own thing, I'm a bit more artsy. You know, when you say you do film, people tend to be as if you're like, I do maths, science, and English. Like everybody knows what they are. As film, you know, it's something that people know about, but they want to like, you know, it's quite a fun thing that people want to talk about. I wanted to be a stage manager, and then I went into law. Well, you know, swings and roundabouts, innit? You know, either you're dancing on the stage, or you're dancing in prison, you know. You win some, you lose some. That doesn't make sense. Either you're managing the stage or managing the inmates. That's better, actually. That makes much more sense. Both about working with people. Anyway, people like to ask me what I want to do, and I always I have the go-to answer. Look, if you guys ask me, being a lawyer is acting. True. But being a stage manager, is that acting? I don't know. Depends how involved you want to get, I guess. So, what's it called? Where was I? People always ask me, like, what do you want to do? If one of you guys were to ask me, I'd be like, yeah, I want to stream and I want to do content creation. But anybody else ask me that, and I'm like, look, I don't want to go through. Because then you also have to go through, oh, yeah, I do it already. Oh, how are you getting on? Oh, yeah, you know, not too bad. You know, it's all about learning how to craft. And, you know, one day we'll get there. And then it's all like, oh, well, what are you going to do if you can't do that? And then you just go into that answer anyway. And because people, this is the other thing, is, you know, I feel like I'm talking to my mum. Content creation and like the whole social media influencer, I hate the word influencer, but it is what it is. You know what if I say influencer, you know what I mean. It's a very cliche thing. And I don't know, I feel like I've got my foot in the door, and I feel while it's not exactly a guaranteed path, it is, I'm working towards it, you know, we're on the move, and I feel I do know a bit more what I'm doing than quite a few people. And fingers crossed, you know, we'll get there. But a lot of people just kind of go, oh yeah, cool, dream on. And then, so it's just easier to hit them with, and also it's just a whole thing. People ask you about that, and you have to be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. So you just hit them with it. Yeah, I want to do film. I want to work in TV. I want to be a producer. That tends to be my go-to. You are a good filmmaker. Oh, thank you, Love Cats. So I was doing that to her. I was like, yeah, I want to go into it. And she was like, and I much prefer the TV side to the film side because, I don't know, TV tends to be much quicker turnaround and much more, like, I prefer, like, documentary and stuff like that. As, you know, film tends to be big, you know, Hollywood projects and a lot more like pre-production and a lot more higher stakes and budget, and I don't know, I like working in a smaller team and stuff like that. And she was like, oh wow, great. And she's like, what are you gonna do after you finish college? And I was like, oh well, you know, hopefully I'm gonna take a gap year and then maybe go to, I was telling this woman my whole life story. We were having a great chat. I was like, yeah, I'll hopefully take a gap year. You know, I want to tour the UK, and then I might go maybe abroad a bit in that year, and then like go to uni. And then we started talking about applying to uni. She was like telling me about her son. She was like, yeah, my son applied late. He actually waited till he got his grades to apply, and, you know, it really helped him. He got loads of offers for it. So, you know, maybe you don't want to apply before you leave college. You want to, like, defer. Rather than deferring, you should, like, wait. And I was like, wow, thank you so much for all these knowledge bombs, old lady. I love you. By this point, we've now been waiting there, like, 20 minutes. We've been having this good old convo. The other bus comes. The enemy bus comes. The one that's a bitch, but I don't go on, right? And honestly, this woman says, she turns to me and she says the sweetest thing. She goes, oh, like, and she goes, oh, are you going to come get on this one? And I was like, oh, no, because I got the bus pass. And she's like, oh, yeah, of course. Like, she was like, oh, do you want me to pay for you? And I was like, no, don't worry. I'll wait for the next one. I'm sure it won't be long. And she was like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure? Like, don't worry. Like, if you don't have the money, like, I'll pay for you. You can come on this one, because otherwise you're going to be waiting for ages. And I was like, oh, I was like, no, don't worry. It's okay. Oh, I'm going to get the next one. What a lovely, she was a lovely woman. And I don't think I'll ever see her again. But it was such a wholesome experience. And anyway, she got on the bus and she disappeared off into the distance, and I sat down. And by this point, I've got my phone app. Imagine strangers paying you. I know. Isn't it a crazy concept? That's every time one of you guys subs, a little bit of me inside goes, oh my God, they subbed. It's so cool. Pro-life advice, never turn down free. Nah, but this is the other thing, all right? I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Look, I'm not one to turn down free. In fact, I was in town the other day, and this brand new big bank has opened, right? And I walked by, and they were giving out free bags and free coffees. And while I didn't have enough time to stay for a coffee because the queue was humongous, I did get a bag, right? And I'm going to be honest, I think I left that bag at college. But hey, it was free. So who's the real winner? I'm not one to turn down free. But look, I was looking at the situation at hand, and I was thinking, I could, A, go to college, sit here for an hour, get on the bus, go to college. Not sure when the bus is going to arrive. And show up a little bit late to college. Probably wouldn't even be that late. And then get on with my day. Or, if the bus really takes that long, I'll just go home.